Spirit of Unity's online ministry. My name is Reverend Alicia-Leslie, and today we're going to begin a great new series called It Works If You Work It. You know, it's 2013. It's actually already January 13th, 2013, and I'd like to ask you something. How's it going for you so far? You probably made some resolutions, or maybe you just said to yourself, you know what, this year it's going to be different. If you said that, what exactly were you thinking is going to be different? And in fact, is it different? Dr. Phil always says, how's that working for you? Ask yourself, how is that working for you? For many of us, the answer is not working. But I'd like to look at this time to a scripture that's going to help us to understand why it may or may not be working. It comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 17 and 18. Jesus is speaking and he says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished." Well, how does that sound to you? Does that kind of feel like it's a pressure being put on you? Oh, the law, oh my God, I've got the law on me, and it won't be abolished, and I am stuck with it, I am in prison. Well, maybe that's not what Jesus meant. Maybe what he really meant is he came to uplift the law by helping us to understand it. In Unity, we say that Moses brought the letter of the law, and the people were striving to follow the law according to its letter. But what they were missing was the heart of the law, the reason why that law existed. Because once we come to understand that, the law is no longer oppressive. It is expressive, expressing the good it was meant to express in our lives. The truth of the matter is, the law works, and it works in our favor when we work it. You know, when we want change in our lives, we may pray for it, we may affirm it, we may do whatever. But as many people do, especially many traditional churches, they look at Jesus as a vicarious sacrifice, that he came to do it for us, that if you just believe in Jesus, and if you just, know that he came and you're saved because of it, that's good enough. But I don't think that's what Jesus came to do. I think he came to teach us how to make the law work for us. And we still have that free will given to us by God to either live in accordance with law, with spiritual principle, or not. The choice is ours, the cause we send forth is ours, and the experience we receive, the effect that we receive in response, is up to all of us. Jesus said, "Follow me." But he didn't say, just sit there and stare at the cross and think about how I suffered. There's no doubt that Jesus suffered. At the same time, look at the victory over the worst challenge. What challenge you got? You can have victory over it. Even the small ones. You know, I have to laugh when from time to time, I listen to Joyce Meyer, and she says, how can you claim dominion over evil when you don't have dominion over a sink of dirty dishes? You know what, if that sink of dirty dishes wins you over every time and you let it sit there and have the power in your life, big mistake. You have the power to do that which you need to do. It works if and when you work it. Are you working it? It does work when we work it. You know, it's a funny thing about unity. A lot of people misunderstand unity and they mislive unity. So a lot of people, unity is an airy, fairy, well, you know, there are no stuff that is not ours to do or think the way someone else tells us we need to think. But we also should be alert and conscious to right living and to living in accordance with spiritual principle, simply law, cause and effect, karma, call it whatever you want. The thing is, it works if you work it. And you know what? If you don't work it, guess what? It's still working, but you're not going to like the changes, the things, the effects that are happening in your life. Spiritual law, in fact, is absolute, eternal, and unchanging. It works, and it works every time. I will tell you, unity is not airy-fairy. Unity teaches personal accountability and responsibility, because we teach life is consciousness. Hello, are you out there? Are you alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic? Are you looking at your life? Is it working? Is it not working? You have not only the power, but the accountability and the responsibility to make the changes you want. Remember, law is absolute, eternal, and unchanging. It's something you can count on. Thank God a musician doesn't have to sit down at a piano and hope the keys he hits are going to produce the song he wants. He or she knows when they hit those keys, according to the principle, spiritual and scientific principles, when this sound is hit, this sound comes out. Isn't that wonderful to know that works in your very own life? If you happen to be sitting there going, why is this happening to me again? Why is this happening to me again? Go take a look in the mirror, because that's probably why it's happening to you again. Ooh, and just think of the implications of the fact that this is not only individual, it's collective. So if we understand principle, we learn principle, we know principle, and it's not working, we have to ask ourselves, why are we not working it? Why are we not working it? Do we not have faith in ourselves and our ability to work it? Or maybe one of the greatest causes, as Scott Peck pointed out, it is inconvenient and uncomfortable. What have you claimed for yourself this year? Maybe to lose a few pounds, maybe to get your finances in order, maybe to have better relationships, or to take better care of your body. Well, you know what? I'm going to go, that sounds so great. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this great new year, new life, new me. But if a week down the road you're saying, oh, this isn't working. This just isn't working. Well, I hate to tell you, but 30, 40 years of incorrect eating, spending, living, relating to others is not going to be turned over in one day. I know, the Apostle Paul said, you shall be changed in the twinkling of an eye. And I do believe that's a possibility. And I believe we could all do that, except for one thing. Our very own selves. We have to get over ourselves. We have to get over our shortcomings. We have to overcome the error, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are actually standing in our way. If you really want change in your life, you're going to have to face the inconvenience and discomfort of being spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically self-disciplined. It's to bless you, not to hurt you. Believe me when I tell you, you really want something, it is worth all of the work, all of the time, all of the energy it's going to take to make that happen. I'm going to tell a little story about myself. Sometimes, it's embarrassing, but this is what happened in my life. When I was in elementary school, I was amazing. I will never forget the report card that to like me, wanting a boyfriend, writing Mrs. So-and-so on all of my books, pretending I was married to them. And the result of that was totally erroneous. I wound up in unhappy marriages because I was so looking at having a boy, having a husband, having a marriage, that I didn't look at, was this the boy, this marriage, this relationship that I needed, or was it something that my lower self was saying, I need it, I gotta have it, give it to me. You see? When you learn that you stay principle-centered first, you will find that you are creating better relationships, that your finances are more in harmony, that your health is improved. You know, there's no silver bullet to take off weight. They may tell you it is, but I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't work. The only thing that changes, in order to have the changes you want in your body, in your mind, in your life, and in your finances, that is a change of consciousness, a change in the way that you think, that you feel, that you believe, and that you act, and you can do it. In the twinkling of an eye, possible, likely, probably not, because we've got a few years of stuff that we erred with to undo. But the great thing to know is that spiritual law is uncompromising, absolute, eternal, unchanging. It works if you work it. Just because it doesn't appear to be working right away, don't give up. You plant a seed. How long does it take that seed to grow up and then to produce the fruit or the flower or whatever that you wanted when you planted it? You're planting seeds of change and of consciousness in your mind and your heart. Let them grow and blossom. You can do it. Remember that the law works. You know, it's like a paradox, though. It's funny. Because we want to have the law, which is firm, and sometimes we feel it's confining, but the truth is that living in alignment with spiritual law, spiritual principle, gives us freedom and power to make the changes we want. It's a paradox. How do you know you're growing spiritually when you have the ability to comprehend how something can be appearing to be restrictive, and at the same time that very restrictive, shall we say, commitment gives us freedom? You know, a lot of people don't like the C word, the commitment word. Don't be afraid of the commitment word. That commitment word means you have the power to exercise your freedom as you wish. You know, a lot of people go to church and they're so excited and they say, oh, it was the best service today. Oh, I love the message. I always saying that. And then they leave church, and as they get farther and farther away from church, anything they were excited about, learned about, were going to practice in their life slowly starts to fade away. Why? Because the world, their thoughts, their current life or state of consciousness starts to fill in on them, filling in their time. What? Their time, their focus, their energy. Guess what? Change is not going to happen that way. The good news is faith plus works. Working the principles, not letting the principles work you. Work those principles will bring you a harvest of abundance, of change, of blessings, of all the things you want. It does work if you work it. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at working, how it works if you work it in health, in prosperity, in creating the dreams and desires that you want. I hope that you will join me. And in the meantime, just be knowing, as I know for you, that the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence